We begin with an emergency that's unfolding off Christmas Island. 13 people are dead and dozens more are missing after the wreckage of an asylum seeker boat was found submerged 120 kilometres offshore. Rescue crews have launched a major search operation, still hopeful of finding survivors.
Men, women and children. Another asylum seeker boat is safely unloaded on Christmas Island. But offshore, grave fears are held for at least 55 others trying to make their way to Australia.
13 bodies have been sighted and the search for survivors continues.
The boat was first sighted by the Australian Air Force on Wednesday, northwest of Christmas Island. The plane identified more than 50 people on board and a Navy vessel was tasked to intercept. But when it arrived at the location, less than 12 hours later, there was no sign of the boat. The next authorities saw of it was on Friday. It had capsized and in the last 24 hours, a number of bodies have been discovered in the ocean.
When people get on these boats, they take their life in their hands. And on too many occasions, we're seeing people lose their lives because of it.
3 planes and 2 merchant vessels are now involved in the search for survivors, which is expected to continue through the night.
We believe from their advice that we're still in the window where survivability is possible.
And late today, 78 more asylum seekers from another boat arrived at Christmas Island after they were rescued by an oil tanker. Tom Steinford, 9 News.
For the political fallout from this tragedy, let's go straight to John O'Doherty in Canberra. John, what does this mean for the Gillard government?
For the most part, Pete, all sides of Parliament agree that now is not the time to talk politics while the search for survivors is still underway. But the politics will come, and there is no denying that because Labor hasn't been able to stop the boats as promised by Julia Gillard in 2010, it'll be a major issue leading up to the election. In recent years, hundreds of lives have been lost at sea.
This is another terrible tragedy.
This is another terrible human tragedy.
An unfolding tragedy out at sea.
All sides of Parliament want to stop it, but what's stopping action is politics. After 90 asylum seekers perished in June last year, the Gillard government sought advice from an expert panel. Labor wanted to implement all the recommendations, but the opposition refused, insisting it would only support policies used by the Howard government.
Because it sent a message loud and clear to people smugglers that we were serious about stopping them.
In caucus this week, Laurie Ferguson said without voter support for the government's handling of asylum seekers, Labor is dead in Sydney's west.
But people want this resolved. There's no argument about it. They want it resolved.
This will be quite toxic for the ALP, so I think this will dog them to election day.
And with Parliament sitting just 8 more days before the federal election, the likelihood of breaking what has been years of political deadlock now seems impossible. Come September, Scott Morrison looks set to become Immigration Minister, and he'll have to deliver on his promise of stopping the boats. John O'Doherty, 9 News.